Adi Jaya Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Harinama Sankirtanam ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nandagopakumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोऽस्तु ते असाधु साधुता दायीन अतिनीचोच्चता कर हानमुंच कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्णार्थकंठयोस्फुर श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम की जय. This one, right? 6 Bhakti Vaibhav 89145. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So I was not keeping well yesterday, so we couldn't have the class. So we will continue now where we left off. So how I see is that this chapter we will be able to complete, and then tomorrow I might take an extended session and we'll complete the chapter 27 also. So 28 will remain. So that yeah, we'll figure out how it should be done. Either I'll share the recording and you can hear, because I have spoken also in other places that yeah. Okay. So in this chapter, chapter 26, we have discussed till now. Yeah, this is okay. There it is okay. Yes. It is very hot also, no? So naturally, fan you can put on, no problem. So in this chapter, we began with the Kapila Muni saying to Parikshit, saying to Mother Devahuti that he will speak this knowledge of material tattvas by which one becomes free from the modes of influence. He becomes free from the modes of nature. So then after that, he began to describe relationship between Jeev, Jagat, Jagdish. We saw that first 8 verses he discussed that. Then from text 9, he started discussing various tattvas. So we began with Mahat Tattva, Pradhan rather. Pradhan was discussed. Okay, get it settled. Are you done? Once, then we'll speak. Because everybody is looking at the fans. Okay. Yeah. So we began with discussion on Pradhan first, right? Then after Pradhan, we discussed Pradhanik Gana, meaning products of Pradhan. After that, what was discussed? After the products of Pradhan, time was discussed. Yes, time. There was a discussion on time. Then after time, we discussed the characteristics of Mahat Tattva. That's right. So we discussed the characteristics of Mahat Tattva. And within that, we discussed about Mahat Tattva, characteristic also. The Upasya, the presiding deity of Mahat Tattva. Who is that? For Mahat Tattva? Uh, Vasudev. Vasudev is the deity, presiding deity, right? And Sankarshan is presiding deity of which tattva? Ahankar tattva, right? So Vasudev, then Sankarshan, Ahankar. So we talked about these aspects. So there is Upasya, presiding deity, and there is also Adhisthata. Hmm. So who is Adhisthata of Mahat Tattva? Lord Vishnu only. And who is Adhisthata of Ahankar Tattva? Rudra. Okay. So we saw these things. So that Lord Sankarshanakhyam, it was discussed, and his characteristics, especially Ahankar in three modes, how it produced three products, that also was seen. So now, after that, we see that mind was being discussed, right? So the mind is generated from Ahankar or ego in which mode? Goodness, yeah. So we discussed that also, that although mind is produced from the mode of goodness and buddhi is produced from mode of passion, yeah, but that is because of their functions being less dynamic and more dynamic. Uh, buddhi has a role which is more dynamic. So that's why it is produced from rajas as per Jiva Goswami. Hmm. While mind has more, not that dynamic role like buddhi. Uh, So he says that it has only aspect of sankalpa and vikalpa. So who is the presiding deity of the mind? Aniruddha. So that is discussed now. So text 28. Yad vidurhya aniruddhakyam rishikanam adishwaram sharadendi varashamam samradhyam yogibhi shanai.
The mind of the living entity is known by the name of Lord Aniruddha, the supreme ruler of the senses. He possesses a bluish black form resembling a lotus flower growing in the autumn. He is found slowly by the yogis.
Yeah. So the mind of the living entity is known means basically mind's presiding deity. Uh, Like Vishwanath Chakravarti says that if some people are sitting on the mancha, uh, so what do we say? The respected dais. But what do we mean by that? The personality on the dais, right? Manchastha purusha yatha manchatvena bodhyate, he says. Some people who are sitting on the mancha, you call them as dais. But dais, by dais, you mean the people there. So similarly, mind is said to be Aniruddha. What that means is, yeah, the presiding deity of the mind is Lord Aniruddha. Uh, so he is the one who controls that mind tattva called mana. Universal level, individual level, Vyashti, Samashti, whichever level, he controls that. Uh, he is the master, Upasya. And under him, then we see that the mind is, as Adhisthata is controlled by whom? Moon, Soma. He controls like that. So especially at the Vyashti level. Hmm. Samashti level, it is controlled by Lord Aniruddha. Uh, so his form is said to be bluish black form. Sharade Indivara Shamam. Sharad Rutu ke uh, Indivara means blue lotus. Uh, Nilotpala. You have seen blue lotuses? So didn't see. Okay, they are there. Uh, blue lotuses. There are blue lotuses sometimes. Yeah, even in the Western world, they have blue lotuses. They use a lot. Uh, in Mayapur, you don't have blue lotuses. I think they are there. Yeah, in Mayapur also they are there. Lily तो अलग हो गया. Lily blossoms in the night. The lotuses blossom in the day. So Nilotpal is also day lotus. Uh, Lily को रात में moonlight. Lily is nourished by moonlight. So anyway, the point is that yes, his complexion is like that. So he's a beautiful form, Lord Aniruddha, and he is meditated. The yogis meditate on all these forms. Vasudeva. Some of the yogis meditate on Pradyumna. Some of them on Aniruddha. So they meditate on all these different forms of the Lord. So you can see that it is mentioned that in this way, especially yogis meditate on Aniruddha because of what? Because yogi means his mind should be very sharp, right? His mind should be under control. So, what is a yogi whose mind only is not in control? Like that. In today's yoga, they don't speak also about this mind control and all. They only speak for first four stages: yama, niyama, asan, pranayam. उसमें भी यम नियम में they will only tell about what is to be eaten and what is not to be eaten. बाकी ब्रह्मचर्य वगैरह तो कोई बोलेगा भी नहीं. They only speak about asan pranayam. So it's not technically hatha yoga also, because hatha yoga also should speak about first four limbs. तो ये 50% हट yoga. Like half hut, आधा hut, अर्धा hut yoga, like that. Sometimes. So you can see yoga has become a really laughing stock. The system of yoga entails controlling the mind, and the lord of the mind is Aniruddha. Of course, for a devotee, he can, for anything, he can just worship Krishna and pray to Krishna. Mukunda, isn't it? Mukunda means, yes, one meaning is one who gives the muku, which means mukti. But another meaning is also one who frees the mind from all the disturbance. So we worship Krishna only for anything. But even if somebody is worshipping Aniruddha for these purposes and all, still it is considered within the fold of devotional service only. If one is worshipping particular deity for particular, like in other Vaishnava Sampradayas, this idea is very prominent. If you want very great, very great pace in Shastra, then you worship Lord Hayagriva. If you want great mind control, then you worship Aniruddha. And these are all Vishnu Murtis only. So especially one is supposed to pray for that. And not for some mundane cause, for bhakti only. So that's how they worship also, all different Vishnu Tattvas. Yeah, in our Sampradaya, for whatever purpose, one is supposed to pray to Radha Krishna, like that. So for anything, for that matter, so we can directly pray to Shri Radha Krishna. So that complete focus on the Upasya, being Radha Krishna, that is a characteristic there in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So even how we pray to Narsimha, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about Navadvibhava Taranga. So we pray to Narsimha that we develop love of Godhead for Radha Krishna. And please destroy the obstacles in my love to Radha Krishna. So that is a most unique way of praying. I have one Sri Vaishnava friend I was talking. He said, you people are crazy. He said, Narasimha is Bhagwan also, no? Why can't you pray for love and devotion at his lotus? So, no, I said, that's what we are praying. Tattva-wise, Narsimha and Lord Krishna, they are the same only. But yeah, you see, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's very famous. So he says that crying and crying, falling at the feet of Narsimha, I will say, my dear Lord, please give me love for Radha Krishna. Like that. Uh, so by that, of course, we know that Narsimha is pleased only for that. But that's how it is. That exclusive Krishna Sharanam. Ekle Ishwar Krishna, that aspect is very, very prominent. But even if some devotee prays to Narsimha so that he can have great devotion at his feet, that is still within Vaishnavism only, if it is within the fold of Vaishnavism. So all these aspects like praying to Aniruddha for a particular benediction, it is not considered to be something outside Vaishnavism. No. In fact, that is a standard way the other sampradayas practice bhakti. If you are having this not very great taste in Shastra, so then Hayagriv, mantra, one does Upasana, then one becomes extremely empowered in Shastra study. So like that, they have a lot of things. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is so that is in Gaudiya very strongly there. Huh? Yeah, Narsimdev is allowed because Narsimha's worship again is done with the same purpose. And this aspect of destroying all the obstacles and all that. So our Sampradaya Acharyas have been worshipping. It is approved by the Sampradaya, right? Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or even before that also, uh, Narsimha. There is even at Yogapit, right? There is Narsimha's worship at Yogapit. Uh, so it is accepted within. But then still there is a purpose. Once I was in this Simhachalam temple in Germany, uh, in West Germany, and there this topic came up. What should we pray to Lord Narsimha? And all are there, like main deity is Lord Narsimha. There is no Radha Krishna there. Like, so I just said, we will study from Navadvip Bhavatarang, which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, And then I just read the verses and explained. And because it is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, everybody was like, yes, yes, Hare Krishna. Nice. Otherwise, you say something like, we are not supposed to pray for Lord Narsimha's bhakti or like that, they will be. So, yes, they will be in Narsimha Bhava. They will take. And then there was this idea also that Rama, Nrsimha, and Krishna, they are all one tattva. So I said, no, that's not how the verse is speaking. Rama, Nrsimha, Krishneshu, no, Nrsimha, Rama, Krishneshu, Shadgunyam Parikirtitam. Like that it is mentioned. That these three incarnations, they show complete feature of Shadguna, meaning Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya. So that's why these three are distinguished. But even in that distinction, there is order. Nrsimha, Ram, Krishna. So Baladev Vidyabhushan says that this all six qualities in Nrsimha, greater manifestation is there in Rama and greatest is there in Krishna. So even in that, there is a distinction. Like so that's how, on the basis of pramanas and all, then they were all very happy in the end. Yeah. Ramachandra. Yes. Nrsimha Ram. Anyway, that is another topic. So don't get into that. Yeah.
Like you said, even for protection, we should pray to Shri Radha Krishna. And I also feel the same. But in our Sampradaya, like you were talking about Yogapit and Yogapit in Mayapur, still we are taking shelter of Narsimha Dev when we are being attacked. So how to reconcile these two?
That's what. So Nrsimha being worshipped, especially as in devotee's life, that aspect of removing of the obstacles is a very extremely sensitive aspect, and that is an aspect where devotee, we see that he seeks a deep shelter. So because Lord Nrsimha is known for removing those obstacles, so especially whenever there are difficulties and all, so the acharyas have accepted that particular worship, where, because this scenario is very common in a devotee's life. In material world, The obstacles will be there, the hazards, the calamities will be there only. So at such times, taking shelter of Narsimhadev so that one's bhakti aspect will be taken care. So this is still within the fold of complete exclusive dependence on Krishna only. So we see that for other aspects, like for praying for intelligence, praying for health, and all that, acharyas have not so much, spoken of worshipping a certain Vishnu Tattva, although it is there in other sampradayas. For every purpose, there is one Vishnu Murti that one can worship. But for Narsimha Dev, the acceptance is there. Uh, so because it is there, so then we can do it like that. And as I said, that eventually uh, one may worship all devatas also in that manner. Worship in the sense one may respect all the devatas and all that. But Lord Nrsimha's worship is more than that. It is actually accepted also as worship. So we can follow Acharya's mood. That is the thing. Other worshipping other murtis for different purposes, that they have not so much spoken about it or approved it. So yes, so in this way, usually speaking, if somebody is worshipping Lord Nrsimha, then this prayer is also very characteristic, to pray to Nrsimha that please give us love for Godhead, love of Radha Krishna. So that itself is also showing quite a great focus on Upasya as Radha Krishna. But the scenario of calamities in devotees' life are quite common. So at such times, if one is praying to Lord Nrsimha, that is Bhaktivinoda Thakur accepts it, or it is there. Lord Chaitanya's life also, we see that the devotees demonstrated that aspect. So that's how. That is perfect. Yeah, it's not needed. Yeah, that is also fine. Yes, correct. It's just that it's established in our institution also, right? Like if the Narsimharti is there, so naturally you are worshipping. So that time we can pray. But exclusively, separately, we don't have to, right? Like sometimes devotees have these ideas also that I like Balaji, I like this deity, and then they want to connect also. Probably I am from Vaikuntha, like that. So it may be completely biological, or you just come from a certain background, so you feel like you have some attraction, right? Uh, so it's nothing to do with the original Swarupa or anything like that. Very, very advanced devotees, they can speak something like that. So we can keep attraction and liking for a certain deity. That is fine. But being in certain sampradaya, you also have to know that what is our aspiration. This is our aspiration. To be an alloyed devotee of Shri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. Uh, not in Aishwarya Golok also. so that's the aspiration. Okay. Aniruddha is worshipped by the yogis. Meditation upon voidness is a modern invention of fertile brain of some speculator. Hmm. So yogi means actually he should have the dharnashraya as Vishnu only. Dharnashraya of some void, some bulb, some light, uh, actor, actress. They speak anything today. You can have Dharnashraya as your favorite actress. Uh, so imagine that yoga, is it yoga or bhoga? Uh, yeah, what mind control whether his mind control would happen or mind agitation would happen. Uh, so they say whatever you like, you make it as Dharnashraya. So that is such a bogus idea, right? Bhagavatam doesn't accept any Dharnashraya except uh, Vishnu Murti. Actually, the process of yoga meditation should be fixed upon the form of Aniruddha only. Uh, by meditating on Aniruddha, one can become free from the agitation of acceptance and rejection. So that is mind and the upasya of the mind. Then buddhi, last one. Taijasat tu vikurvanat buddhi tattvam abhut sati. Dravyaspurana Vijnanam Indriyanam Anugraha. Yes. Please read.
By transformation of the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. O virtuous lady, the functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and to help the senses.
Yes. So then Taijas Ahankar, meaning Ahankara in the mode of passion. So from there comes Buddhi Tattva, intelligence, Buddhi. And this Buddhi Tattva, it is said to be Dravya Spurana Vijnana, which means mind may perceive certain thing, but what that is, whether it is good, whether you can have it, whether you can't have it, all this aspect, Dravya Spurana Vijnana, ascertaining a certain thing, that is function of Buddhi, right? Mind, see, basically there is a basic awareness through the Chitta. Now, after that awareness is done, we see that the mind suddenly make a decision of, okay, this is good or this is bad, or mind is just having a question, what it is exactly, what it is. So then Buddhi, that distinction, that discrimination, that aspect of ascertaining something, that is the function of Buddhi. Buddhi will determine, this thing I had seen before, and this is what it is. Or I had never seen it before. This is something new. So all this ascertaining the nature of things, that is considered to be the job of Buddhi. Mind is more on the aspect of I want it or I don't want it. It is a decision. It will be a sudden attraction or sudden repulsion or confusion about that thing. But Buddhi is the one which discriminates what is there, what is not there. And see, this whole thing, whole discrimination and this whole thing may happen in split second. It's a very quick thing, the whole perception aspect, right? But yes, that happens. Those functions are being analyzed separately. Like anything you see, no? Jiva Goswami says two kinds of perceptions are there, nirvikalpaka and savikalpaka. So nirvikalpaka means as soon as you see something, you first only recognize that something is there. And in next split second, you recognize this is a wall. Like that. Like, this is a wall. This is a fan. So first and foremost, there is only recognition of that thing, that this particular thing exists. Sometimes you can see this phenomenon very clearly when in darkness you are trying to figure out something is there. And then it may take maybe few seconds and then you realize, oh, actually it's a table. So this phenomenon happens for every what it is. But that's how every perception is, he says, nirvikalpaka, where you don't recognize its form, attributes, ascertainment is not there. And then suddenly in a flash, you recognize this is this thing. So he connects it very nicely to says that, he says similarly, when you look at absolute and you are not able to see any attributes, nirvikalpaka, vikalp matlab attribute. If you are not able to see any attributes, that is which feature? Brahman feature, he says. And as soon as you see the attribute, then you realize, oh, this is Paramatma or Bhagwan, depending on how many features you are observing. So he says that Brahman feature is that nirvikalpaka jnana. It is, faint, not ascertained kind of picture of reality. As soon as it is ascertained, then it is either Paramatma or Bhagwan. So anyway, Dravya Spurana Vijnanam is the aspect of ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view. And Indriyanam Anugraha, so that's why Buddhi is considered to be most doing the greatest welfare for the senses. Baki to sare hi, is Chitta not doing the welfare? Chitta is the basic perception. Is it doing welfare or anugraha? Is it assisting the senses or not? Chitta. Yes. I'm asking, is chitta assisting the senses or not? It is. Is mind assisting the senses or not? It is. Is the ego assisting the senses or not? Yes. Still, buddhi is said to be indriyanam anugraha. It is assisting, or it is giving, it is doing special welfare to the senses. Why? Because buddhi is ascertaining. It is giving the biggest assistance to the senses, because senses are based on Buddhi's judgment, the senses are going to act. That's why it is said Indriyana Manograha. In that way, you can see. Intelligence is the discriminating power to understand an object, and it helps the senses make choices. Therefore, intelligence is supposed to be the master of the senses. More than mind. Mind is also sometimes said to be master of the senses or hub of the senses. But intelligence in terms of, because intelligence makes analysis and makes a decision, and that way, when somebody's intelligence is lusty, the mind just desires, but then intelligence analyzes the whole situation and then decides to go ahead. No, it tells that yes, okay, whether we can do this or not. Okay, we can steal it also, but we will not be caught. So this whole thing is, decision is done by the intelligence, and then one commits some crime or whatever. So intelligence, whether good intelligence or bad intelligence, intelligence has the role to play primarily. For conditioned soul, most of the times intelligence is bad intelligence only. Buddhi is not acting in way that it is making a good choice. It is making a bad choice only, because lust has overtaken intelligence, mind, everything. But intelligence remains very dynamic. It has a dynamic role to play in this whole action phenomenon. So functions of intelligence are spoken. Samshayotha viparyaso nishchaya smritirev cha swapa ityuchate buddher lakshanam vrittitah prathak.
Doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory, and sleep, as determined by the different functions, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence.
Yeah. So you see, the characteristics of buddhi, or the functions of buddhi, you could say, they are samshaya, doubt, doubting something in the sense that one is scrutinizingly analyzing it, doubt in that sense. Viparyas, uh, misapprehension, uh, taking something to be something else. That is because buddhi has ascertained a wrong judgment. That's why, although, like, there is, rope in the corner, but you are seeing it as snake. That is because the buddhi is not very alert. Suppose this whole place is dark, and in that darkness there is a rope there. So because of darkness, it may appear like it is a snake. Uh, So what has happened is buddhi has been covered over because of the darkness. So that is called viparyas, misapprehension, wrong perception. So this is also function of intelligence, but function in the sense it is function of an impure intelligence, not a perfect intelligence. Then nishchaya, so which is opposite. Viparyas is misapprehension, nishchaya is correct apprehension. Apprehension is comprehension, in that sense it is used. Comprehension or perception, right perception, nishchay. In Nyaya language also, it's called prama. Prama. Prama means correct understanding. So that which gives correct understanding is known as pramana. Pramana means means of getting correct understanding. So, Shabda Praman, Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, all this. So, Nishchaya is actually correct apprehension or correct comprehension, correct perception. Smriti, certainly. A memory is considered sign of intelligence. Quite obvious, right? You know, somebody is intelligent but cannot memorize only anything. So, how is that? So Smriti is also sign of intelligence. And the last one is interesting, Swapa, sleep. Sleep is being also considered sign of intelligence. So this sleep being considered sign of intelligence is in the sense that the buddhi remains active even in the sleep. That is the point. Sleep, when somebody is sleeping, so that is which stage? So that is stage of swapna. Swapna, and dreamless is sushupti. So we see that the sleep, buddhi usually remains active in the swapna also. Buddhi or mind or like that, it remains active in the sleep also. If it is sushupti, then there everything is shut off. Mind is shut off. Buddhi is also shut off. Like only the soul remains active there. Alert, buddhi remains alert. That's why sometimes someone may see dream, or someone may see in dream also some very special, like who was that who saw the benzene structure in the dream? Kekule. Kekule. So Kekule was, he was thinking all day about how is the benzene structure. क्या होता है C2H4 क्या फॉर्मूला है C6H6 C6H6. So then in the sleep he got, the snakes holding each other. One snake is holding the tail of other. So he saw, oh, this should be the benzene structure. Next day he drew the figure, and that was it. Like that. So we see that the intelligence is active even in the sleep. Of course, we do understand that it is coming by his karma. It is a revelation that came to him within his karma. It must have been there. So Paramatma is matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha, right? So swapa here, meaning is that it is also one of the intelligent characteristic of buddhi. And Prabhupada gives a more pragmatic meaning also by saying that he says, in order for buddhi or intelligence to function, you should sleep properly. So Prabhupada gives a practical understanding of that. He says, if you don't sleep properly, then buddhi will not work. If you sleep too much, you will become lazy. If you sleep too less, you will become crazy, Prabhupada would say. So crazy means buddhi is not working. So that's why he says swapa means that in order that your brain functions properly, buddhi functions properly, you should have good proper sleep. Proper sleep, not oversleep also. That's not good. So you can see, doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Therefore, the word samshaya is very important. Especially in order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. So you see doubt in the sense of trying to analyze something very deep, not just going by external words, but trying to understand deeply. That is a very much encouraged thing. But doubting is not very favorable when information is received from proper source. So one may accept, especially in devotee, in path of bhakti, if the discussion is coming from Shastra, one does not doubt it, but one may want to understand it, scrutinizing. One accepts it that it is Shastra Vachan, so it is right. But one may want to understand it nicely, and for that one may question, so which is fine. But if one doesn't believe only, one feels like, "Arey, this Shastra, pata nahi sahi hai ki." And these people are studying it extensively, but I don't know whether it is true also. So that sort of samshayatma, then it is samshayatma vinashyati. Krishna says, agyascha ashraddhadhanascha samshayatma. So samshayatma is somebody who is receiving proper knowledge through proper sampradaya, through proper authorities. Still he does not have faith in it. That is samshayatma. Somebody's agya, he does not know only, he's fully ignorant. Ashraddhadhana, somebody has a lot of faith in the Vedas, but he does not have faith in bhakti process. That is ashraddhadhana. And finally, samshayatma. He is in bhakti process. He is hearing from the authorities. Still he does not have faith. So that is samshayatma. So for such a person then, he should take good association. He should serve the Vaishnavas. Because what happens by serving Vaishnavas is the Shraddha and the Ruchi develops, right? Yes, Sushusho Shraddhadhanasya Vasudev Katha Ruchi Syat Mahat Sevaya. So Mahat Seva से फिर आपको शुश्रूषा से महत सेवा से you will develop the ruchi. You will develop Shraddha, you will develop ruchi also. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, doubting the words of the authority is the cause of destruction. Samshayatma vinashyati. When one is able to analyze his actual position, the false identification with the body is detected. This is viparyas. So viparyas is misapprehension, and it is also detecting misapprehension. One understands what is right, what is wrong, this way. When false identification is detected, then real identification can be understood. Real understanding is described here as nishchaya, proved experimental knowledge. So it is something which is very proper understanding, proper knowledge. Smriti means memory and swapa means sleep. Sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. So especially sleep is also very important aspect of health. So recently I was meeting one very good doctor, Ayurvedic, a great expert. So he was saying that I see that for many, many devotees, he said, your people's health is not good because I see the sleep quality is very poor. So he was saying that oftentimes you people go late night and then get up early in the morning. And because of which, he said that although other aspects, like other aspect also, he had a lot of comments on the food that we eat. So that also he said that it is too rich. Nobody eats like this. He said even the rich people don't eat rich food like you people eat. So he was saying to me, just because people are ready to give feast every day, it doesn't mean you have to eat every day. So, so yesterday I was also speaking to kitchen in charge, and I said that even in Mahavidyalaya we made a rule that people can donate whatever they want, but we will decide what is to be done in the feast, and they cannot dictate. Because if you go by their dictations, then it is like, because who is going to eat? Not them. You are the ones who are eating. So sometimes the donors have 5 sweets dene aaj. Like they have such in Vrindavan, especially everybody is fond of feeding sweets and eating also, eating sweets also. So wahan pe scenario common hai. When they are sponsoring feast, they will say, Prabhu, so which sweet banana hai? We asked him, nahi, sweets banana hai. 5 sweets banana hai. So this also, kheer also, gulab jamun also, rasgulla also. This, like that. This. So imagine once in a while you have like that. Once in a month it is okay. But if you want to feed like that every alternate day, तो सबके सब diabetic बन जाएंगे. Blood. So this aspect of especially yuktahar viharasya, we can give brilliant classes on that. Yuktahar viharasya, but to practice it is very difficult. So he was making nice point. He said, भगवान कह रहे हैं कि योगो भवति दुःखः, तो आपका योग जो है दुख की हानि बनने वाला होगा इफ यू प्रैक्टिस युक्ताहार. लेकिन यहाँ पे भक्ति योग दुख को प्रदान करने वाला बन गया इंस्टेड ऑफ दुख की हानि. सो योगो भवति दुःखदः instead of dukkha because of not eating properly and because of sleep also. So I'm speaking, I also have to improve, certainly. Especially that sleep aspect. I see that many times we compromise on that, right? We should go to bed early, get up early. But going to bed early is not many times followed. Getting up early is followed because there is a routine and regime strict. So it's important. So you may try to control the aspect of eating, but if there is not coupled with acting of proper sleep, then health will not be good. So these two aspects extremely important. तैजसानेन्द्रियाण्येव क्रियाज्ञान विभागशः प्राणस्य हि क्रिया शक्तिर्बुद्धेर्विज्ञान शक्तिता. Yes.
Egoism in mode of passion produces two kinds of senses: the senses for acquiring knowledge and senses of action. Senses of action depend on the vital energy, and the senses for acquiring knowledge depend on intelligence.
In the mode of passion, two kinds of senses, working senses and knowledge acquiring senses. So both of them are produced from mode of this ego or ahankar in mode of passion. So especially the working senses, they have prana shakti, and the knowledge acquiring senses have vijnana shakti. These two energies, they motivate them. So working senses means prana shakti aspect should be very prominent, like that. See, these pranas are subtle. Huh? It's not gross air. Pancha Mahabhuta, if you see, there is the gross air element. But when we talk about pranas, so pranas are not gross airs, they're subtle airs within the body. So these subtle airs, that's why they travel with the subtle body. Otherwise, you see gross air substance, it remains in the gross body when one departs. But the subtle air is prana. And these pranas, we see that they travel with the subtle body. The soul is floating on the equilibrium point of 5 pranas, which is actually a subtle energy. It's not exactly gross. The gross air is also affecting that subtle energy, but still it is the air substance in the body. You see, if somebody dies, then the air substance remains in the body. But still we say that pranvayu chale gaye uske. Because pranvayus are actually subtle. So those subtle pranvayus, they govern how healthy one's body is on gross senses. And the knowledge acquiring senses, again, when we say knowledge acquiring senses also, we don't mean the external senses, like karna is external, but shrotra is inside. The power, the subtle power of that particular sense. So that aspect is governed by Vidyan Shakti. It is governed by the intelligence. So these both appear because these are dynamic functions. So they appear from mode of passion. Prabhupada says here also, you can say. Intelligence is said to be product of ego in passion. And mind is the product of ego in goodness. This is the distinction between mind and intelligence. Mind is a product of egoism in goodness. Intelligence is product of egoism in passion. Since mind is a product of mode of goodness, it is fixed. If it is fixed upon the Lord of the mind, Aniruddha, then the mind can be changed to Krishna consciousness. It is stated by Narottam Das Thakur that we always have desires. Desires cannot be stopped. So that is a point Prabhupada repeats many times. Desires cannot be stopped. They should be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Because the sense organs for activity, meaning working senses, and for acquiring knowledge, that is knowledge acquiring senses, Jnanendriya, because they require energy, the vital energy or life energy, so they are produced by egoism in the mode of passion. We can actually see, therefore, that those who are very much passionate can improve in material acquisition very quickly. Jo civilization is very passionate, then you see that they improve in material acquisitions very quickly. It is recommended in Vedic scriptures that if one wants to encourage a person in acquiring material possessions, one should also encourage him in sex life. Yes, the material advancement, we see that by family, the material advancement becomes very, very prominent. This is a function which even the consumerism industry knows that. They know that if you can push something as a requirement for family, then person will work very hard for it. If family ke liye, this will make your family happy, then you see that that product will sell. If you just want to give that product for an individual, then person may or may not so much take for it. But you see, all advertisement is like that, like cars. So they want to show that whole family is there in the car. Happy family. On Diwali, they are doing arti of that car. So person feels, it should also have. My family will be happy. So this aspect of sex life and the expansion caused by sex life and material advancement, this goes very, very together, very much together, this aspect. So even in Western world, this industrial revolution and all, when it just exploded, in the sense whole material advancement took with a rapid pace. So that time the inspiration was this family only there also. They inspired the Western civilization that your family can have best of the facilities, best of the machines, best of the all amenities, and that's how then in 19th century the industrial revolution took place with so much of technological advancement and all. So that's the thing. What Prabhupada is trying to say is the working senses are generated from the mode of passion. So what that means is passion and the working senses, they're connected. So that's how sex life and material advancement is very much connected. So if you don't encourage too much sexual life, then you will see that those people will also be not so much interested in material advancement. So that's the scenario of India and these countries, where we see that because the whole culture was based upon the values like vairagya and values like self-realization and all that. So too much interest in material advancement, this was never there in the mind like that. So that's why when even the atheistic people or all these Westerners, they started preaching, so we see that they wanted to do away with this value of vairagya and detachment and all that, because once you do away with that, then people will take material advancement seriously. नहीं तो फिर आप जंगल में उसको एनकरेज कर रहे हो जाने को, वो क्यों मटेरियल एडवांसमेंट के पीछे जाएगा, राइट? So that's how we see that this aspect Prabhupada is also connected. Persons infatuated by material consciousness are very intelligent in discovering things for material comforts, but they have no access to understanding spirit, soul, and spiritual life. right? So even Indian leaders feel like that. All these years we neglected this technology, they say. So we remained backward. Now we also want to. So practically 40%, 50% of US industry is being run by Indians. IT industry is being 40, 50% are IT guys are from India only. India and China. So yeah, they feel that now we remained very much behind in technology. Now we should just take over the whole world. So that was because, yes, the focus was on spirit, soul, spiritual life, and all that. Okay, further. Now, tamas ahankar. Tamasad vikurvanat bhagavad virya choditat shabdamatram abhut tasman nabha shrotram tu shabdagam. Yes.
When egoism in ignorance is agitated by the sex energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the subtle element sound is manifested. And from sound come the ethereal sky and the sense of hearing.
Yes. So now we are discussing the products of ego or ahankar in the mode of ignorance. Tamas ahankar. So tamas ahankar se what all comes? So first comes shabda. Shabda is sound. And from shabda came the substance of the sound, which means the ether. So what happens is first sense object comes, and then from sense object the particular sense comes. That is the order. So from the ego in mode of ignorance, tamas ahankar, first came the shabda. And the shabda or sound is sense object of which sense? Air. Air or ether? Ether. Ether. The sound is the sense object of the element called as ether. So we see that shabda, and from that shabda came the nabha. And nabha here means actually ether. Prabhupada translates as sky. So understand, sky basically means ether. Ether is the substance. And this sound is heard by shrotra, by the ear. But of course, shrotra does not come from ahankar, which is in the mode of tamas. Shrotra comes from where? Ahankar in the mode of rajas. Yeah. But only connection is being shown, that the sound is heard by shrotra. वो sense of hearing तो वो तो mode of passion से आता है. So the shabda, it begins. So sometimes because of that also, they say that the creation begins with shabda. Because the first gross element that is created is what? It is shabda, it is the sound. Of course, that creation begins from sound has many, many explanations. Creation begins from sound because, Mahavishnu breathes the Vedas, and they are the original sound. And they carry the whole prototype or design of the universe. So creation begins from sound. Or, Brahmaji heard the first words as tapa. And by that, his whole knowledge of creation and all is going to come forth ahead. So that's why creation began with sound. In some other Puranas, they say that the first word that was heard by Brahma, it was repeated by him, meaning he spoke that word. And those words came out as Om and Atha. These were the first two words pronounced by Brahma, Omkar and Atha, as per some Purana. Jiva Goswami also quotes that. So that's why they say that the creation began with the sound, because those were the first two words came out of Brahma's mouth. Atha is a very auspicious word, Atha. And Omkar is obviously Lord's, Omkar shows Lord's energies, Lord and Lord's energies. Akarena uchate Vishnuhu. Shri Ukarena uchate. Makarena tu anayos dasa panchavimsha prakirtita. Padma Puran. Padma Puran says that Akar, Ukar and Makar. In that Akar shows Lord Vishnu, Ukar shows Mother Lakshmi, and Makara shows the servants of Vishnu and Narayana, which means the Jivas. So that is Omkar actually. Omkar is denoting Lord and his energies only. It's just that it is not a specific name of the God. It is generic. We prefer specific names like Krishna, like Radharani, like Nandanandan, Sham Sundar, this way. So that's how. So creation began with the sound. Prabhupada is also saying this. It is stated also in the Vedanta Sutra that sound is the origin of all objects of material possession, and that by sound one can also dissolve this material existence. Anavrittihi Shabdad. Liberation by sound. So by sound, all the gross manifestation began, and by sound you can get rid of all the gross manifestation. You can attain the liberation. Anavritti Shabdat. Especially which sound? Hare Krishna Mahamantra or transcendental sound. That's the last sutra of Vedanta. Anavritti Shabdat. Liberation by sound. Vedanta Sutra ends with that. The particular sound capable of doing this is the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna. So especially Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it can take one back home, back to Godhead. The ear is the first sense for receiving knowledge. The sound is heard through ear, shrotra. One must give oral reception to any knowledge one wants to receive, either material or spiritual. Therefore, shrotram is very important. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti. Knowledge has to be received by hearing. In the material world also, we manufacture so many things for our material comfort simply by hearing. So, hearing is the basis of any knowledge, isn't it? Whether material or whether spiritual. Hearing is the basis. So, what to speak of spiritual sound, which comes from hearing, which comes from the empowered sound comes from hearing from the bona fide person. So that's why this principle is being demonstrated by first element that is created, sense objects, that is sound. And from that, the sky meaning the ether, ether is considered to be the one which is the medium of the sound. So as per Vedas, ether is everywhere. It's all pervading. It's inside, outside, everywhere. Modern science has a different understanding. It doesn't accept ether. But as per Vedas, this kham or nabha, it is everywhere, this substance called, subtle substance called ether. That way. So it's there in the sky, it's there in the space, it's there inside us, outside us. Everywhere the ether is there, ether substance.
It's not same as space.
It's not same as space, you know. It's a substance, it's a subtle substance which is said to be filling up the space of space also. Entire space is filled by it. So it is considered to be a gross substance, like it is one of the Panch Mahabhuta, no? So it is a substance, Prabhu. It's a separate substance. Because if we just consider space, then, even the space is filled by ether, like that. Like that, the understanding is there. So modern science, it has a different idea, right? It will say that for sound to carry, you have to have air. Air is considered to be the thing. So like in vacuum, if you clap, then you can't hear. like that. But the Vedas say that only for the sound of Vaikhari level, you need air. But there are sounds like para, pashyanti, madhyama. Four kinds of sounds are there as per Vedas. So that the other three sounds, they don't need you air. You can hear those sounds even without air. So like para is to completely transcendental. But even madhyama and pashyanti, which means the inner sound, like a yogi, he hears within his heart the sound of Omkar. So now that sound, which he at an advanced stage, he can clearly hear that sound. So these sort of sounds which are there, which is subtle sound, internal sound. So they are said to be not needing air or anything like that. So as per Vedas, yes, there are different kinds of sounds, and a gross sound may need air, which is Vaikhari sound. But the other sounds, it says that they need only ether. And that ether is everywhere as per them, inside, outside. So like that.
These four gross elements out of 5 we can understand per se also.
Yeah.
Ether, how to understand
Yeah,
those?
even within gross, it is considered to be a little subtler. The ether one. Yeah. So how can we understand? Yeah, it is understood in the sense that, yeah, experimentally to prove the existence of ether is difficult. It is considered to be an all-pervading substance, and especially the sound can be heard by that. So experimentally, I don't think that kind of answer, yeah, we can give. Amongst the 5, it is considered to be the subtlest, no doubt. And that's why it is created. You are aware only, the further the substances are, they become grosser, easier to recognize, right? Like from ether, then we move to air. So which is easier. But then from air, fire is easier to perceive. You can see also. And then water is even easier. And earth is like easiest. It is the grossest that way. So like that. Sky, yeah. So sky is a word like sky, especially what is sky? Now this is sky, right? Outside, what we see. So we may say blue sky. But that blue is what? It's an effect. Rayleigh effect. Science में पढ़ते थे, याद है? Because of the atmosphere, the sunlight, it gets diffused. And in that, the blue frequency is what is seen. That's why the sky is seen as blue. But if you go in space where there is no atmosphere, then you see as completely black because there is no air there. So air nahi hai to diffusion will not happen. So because of which you don't see the sky. So you want to call it as black sky there. This is blue sky, black sky. Then basically you are referring to sky, that whole thing as space. Any space is being called as sky then. If that's what you mean, then you are basically saying ether only then. Ether is the substance which is all pervading everywhere. Yes. So Prabhupada is using sky in a generic sense, the word like that. Exact word would be ether. Prabhupada means that only, but he's just using the word sky. Yes, Prabhu?
Scientists say that vacuum is there outside atmosphere. So that's why sound cannot travel. So as per Vedas, there is ether. This element is pervading even in vacuum also.
Even in vacuum also.
Which we cannot perceive, science cannot perceive, but we know
Yes.
ether is there.
Exactly.
So but that is a vacuum, so because of which this Vakri sound is not getting propagated.
Yeah.
The other sound with ether is there, so
Absolutely.
other 3 sounds can also travel.
Very true.
That is the understanding.
That's the thing. So even holy name, Jiva Goswami says that when we are making this sound now, Hare Krishna, so he says it is Vaikhari. But through this Vaikhari sound, we are requesting Krishna, we are praying to Krishna that one day that para sound will manifest. And once that para sound manifests of Hare Krishna, that's when नामाक्षर है, what we say, right? नाम नहीं है. तो अभी तो नामाक्षर है, but नाम is not there. So once that nama descends, no, then your chanting is not Vaikhari. It is actually para. It would become a transcendental sound vibration, which is para. So he says a sadhaka is trying to do his japa, requesting the Supreme Lord that para, let that para holy name manifest on my tongue. Right now, it's only Vaikhari. Of course, it is sincere still. We don't say that. We are not able to perceive. That's the point. But at one point of time, that para manifestation of holy name, if it happens, then the chanting is no longer just namakshar. Then it is nama. And at that point of time, one is able to literally perceive that Krishna dancing on one's tongue. So that's how that situation will come on Shuddhanam level, certainly. So that's how it is. Para is a different level. Pashyanti and Madhyama is different level, and Vaikhari is the general ordinary sound, like that. Okay. Arthash.
Sex energy of Lord, what? How to understand that? What is it exactly in the translation?
Oh, that is time. Prabhupada is saying agitated by the sex energy of the Supreme Lord. That is time, actually.
Okay.
Time ko sex energy bola hai. Because time is what causes all this transformation, no? So Bhagavad Virya, it's time here. You can see in commentaries. It's time. अर्थाश्रयत्वं शब्दस्य द्रष्टुर्लिंगत्वमेव च तन्मात्रत्वं च नभसो लक्षणं कवयो विदुः.
Persons who are learned and who have the true knowledge define sound as that which conveys the idea of an object, indicates the presence of a speaker screened from our view, and constitutes the subtle form of ether.
Yes. So you can see what is Shabda? Arthashraya. So obviously Shabda conveys the meaning, no? When Shabda is heard, Tapa, so then he understood what is to be done. So the sound is the shelter of the meaning. Arthashray, Arth ka ashray. If there is no sound only that is heard, then will one understand what is to be done, what is intended? That's why Krishna says that the greatest way to keep the rahasya, confidential thing, secret is maunam. He says, that's it. You keep maun. Don't allow any sound to come out of your mouth. Then the greatest secrets will remain. Krishna says in 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Vibhuti Yoga. So you want to keep a secret? Kya hai? Maunam. Just keep quiet. But if you say, I'm telling you, don't tell anyone. Just telling you because you are my close friend. Soon you will see. It is known by everybody. Like that. So that's why if something confidential is told to us by someone and you want to make sure that the confidential is maintained, just don't speak it to anyone like that. So, Arthashraya, sound is the shelter or that conveys the meaning, the words. Of course, that sound has to be also authentic. Like you say, "Gudurururu." That is also a sound. What earth is that? So it has to be a meaningful sound also, right? Arthapurna Shabda. So the definition of the sound is that it should be meaningful. If it is not meaningful, it's not considered a sound. It's some gibberish. कुछ तो बस बोल दिया ऐसे. Sound means it should be meaningful sound. अर्थाश्रयत्वम. तो आप सोचो कुछ कुछ लोग कितना बकवास करते हैं ना. They keep on speaking and it doesn't have any substance. Especially in today's time, people just want to speak. You know what? उसका पूरा अगर you filter out what is the substance, कुछ नहीं मिलता नीचे. Nothing was there. So actually, Vedic life means minimum words, maximum wisdom. Maximum words, minimum wisdom nahi. Like that. You're speaking so many things. क्या है substance? कुछ भी नहीं. You speak little, but it is loaded with meaning. So for that kind of speech to happen, then one has to make the speech as very grave, gravity. One speaks that is based on Shastra, but one is speaking a profound realization. Otherwise, then vacho vegam. People want to speak so many things, especially in today's world, social media. To kaisa hoga? Everybody wants to speak, 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 speak. They don't want to learn. They don't want to study. They don't want to practice. Only speaking. So that is prajalpa.
Affects our day-to-day life. So we have to talk. That also come under for example, nowadays cylinders not available.
Yeah. No.
We have to talk.
Correct.
Where we can get it.
No, certainly. Why will it be prajalpa? No. These are labho jiveta yavata. Right? Krishna also is saying that as much as needed for our sustenance, those things we have to take care of it. Like that. But apart from that, jivasya tattva jidnyasa. Apart from that, it should be something which is discussing tattva jigyasa, meaning something directly Krishna conscious. But otherwise, that much is needed only, no, Prabhu. Some talk about maintenance of body and, so that we can live in this world. That much is fine. But, 6 hours katha on, Israel and Iraq fight. क्या है ये? उसमें 6 घंटा क्या बात करने हैं तुमको? इसने ये किया, उसने वो किया, उसको. Like that. So that shows that person is not so much interested in Krishna Katha. क्योंकि उसके पास 6 घंटा है ये चर्चा बातें करने को. But he is not interested in Krishna Katha. So you take the lesson, okay, what are the things that we should be taking care of? Cylinder, direct effect हो रहा है अपने को. So it is relevant, isn't it? So you discuss about that. But sometimes, people say they're watching the history of Israel, history of Iraq, क्या किया उन्होंने पहले. उतने 10-15 दिन में वो PhD कर लेता है उस टॉपिक. And then the war is over, then the knowledge is also over. It is useless knowledge, right? So, not that we should not remain updated with the worldly news, but there is a limit also, no? Sometimes you see, it is basically because of not so much interest in Shastra. So the conditioned soul is looking for some masala. Exactly. Masala. So some masala comes like that. Then elections come. Election is another masala, right? Election bulletin. Din bhar dekh raha hai. Like that. World Cup also, that will be too much. Directly Prajalpa. That is super duper Prajalpa. So yes, Prabhu. So one is, if one is needing certain to be updated with material world, certainly, because certain things affect, as you said. Yesterday I was also speaking on phone to the cook. Hey, bhai, wo cylinder ka dekh lo. Yeah, we have to have a official connection. I said we can't get anything in black now. Right? So whatever is needful should be done. But people start forwarding so many big videos, bulletins of Iraq, why it happened, why that happened, how it happened. So why do we need to know these things? We don't need to. We are not spokesperson also of ISKCON. Spokesperson है तो फिर भाई वो भी सुन ले, कोई problem नहीं. But we are not spokesperson. We want to become spokesperson here only to other people, enlightening like that. So usually if somebody starts me telling in detail, I say also, I'm not interested. It's okay. I got whatever is basic needful. That's okay. I don't want more information. You want to share some Shastra? I'm happy to hear. Like that. So, Arthashrayatvam Shabdasya, Drashturlingatvam eva. And then sound is also showing Drashtulingatva, meaning it sometimes some sound is heard, but One may not see the speaker, but sound shows that there is a speaker. Sound means there should be some speaker behind it. So that is drashtulingatva. Like behind this wall, you are hearing something. So it shows that the sound shows that there is someone there. There is some personality or someone. And tanmatra, and obviously it is tanmatra of this nabha, of this ether, that characteristic. It is very clear herein that as soon as we speak of hearing, there must be a speaker. Without a speaker, there is no question of hearing. Therefore, the Vedic knowledge, which is known as Shruti, or that which is received by hearing, is also called apaurusha. So even apaurushaya sound, it means that there is a person behind it. But it's just that the person is not a purusha, meaning he is not an ordinary man. He is apaurusha, which means he is the Supreme Lord. So that's what. So that is Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman means apaurushaya Shabda Praman. Jiva Goswami says we are not followers of Shabda Praman. He says we are followers of apaurushaya Shabda Praman. Because Paurushaya Shabda Praman can also be there, isn't it? In this world, some Shabda Praman which comes from ordinary people is also Paurushaya, no? Like scientists explaining some quantum mechanics. That is Paurushaya Shabda Praman. One may not start doing his own experiment. One may just accept ki bhai, Einstein said this, Schrodinger said that, Niels Bohr said this. These are the Mahajanas of quantum mechanics. So one may just accept them. So that is Paurushaya Shabda Praman. But we are followers of Apaurushaya Shabda Praman. And that Apaurushaya Shabda Praman eventually should lead to, he says, Vaidusha Pratyaksha. Shabda Praman should not just remain at Shabda Praman. He says it should eventually turn into Pratyaksha. So Pratyaksha is actually considered a very important Praman because even the Shabda should turn into Pratyaksha. Meaning what? You are hearing Krishna, Krishna's transcendental form, Goloka. Eventually one should be able to see it by his own eyes. That is called Vaidush Pratyaksha. When is one able to see Krishna personally, face to face? At which level? Prema level. So one should be able to develop prema and see. So he says that the Shabda Praman with Vaidush Pratyaksha is more powerful than mere Shabda Praman. Understand what I'm saying? The Shabda Praman, where one is able to also have the perceived Krishna directly on the face to face. So that person's Shabda Praman and somebody else who cannot perceive Krishna directly face to face, whose Shabda Praman is powerful? The first one. That person's, because it is with realization, it is with the level. So you can see, Pratyaksha is not considered useless. Pratyaksha is considered to be most powerful when it is with Shabda Praman, अपौरुषेय शब्द प्रमाण. नहीं तो फिर आप सोचो, कोई ऐसा जो बोल रहा है भगवान के धाम के बारे में और कोई जो कि प्रेमी भक्ता बोल रहा है भगवान के धाम के बारे में. Who are we supposed to hear from more? From the premi bhakta, because he is speaking with the direct realization of the substance. So you see, so that's how Shabda Praman also becomes more powerful or more relevant if it is coupled with Vaidush Pratyaksha. तो Vaidush Pratyaksha ने क्या होता है? Vaidush यानी learned or enlightened, and Pratyaksha means Pratyaksh Praman. So right now what we see is Avaidush Pratyaksh. It is not enlightened Pratyaksh. But when as a pure devotee he sees it, it is called enlightened Pratyaksha. And that has a great importance in Shastra. Such a person is considered to be the authority. Nivrutta Tarshay Rupagiyamanat. They are considered to be the actual authority to speak Shastra. All others below that, they are If they're practicing sincere sadhakas, then they can speak also. But still, the impact of somebody who is a premi bhakta like Prabhupada, we see that impact. With such a simple class, he can inspire such a dedication. आप एग्जैक्ट रिपीट करो वही क्लास, लोग बोलेंगे कि क्या प्रभु जी कुछ पढ़ते पढ़ते है नहीं लगता है, थोड़ा तो प्रिपेयर कीजिए कुछ तो, like that. But when he is speaking, that is inspiring so many people to dedicate their life that probably we will never be able to do it. It is inspiring. That's because of that. Whatever he is speaking is directly realized. He is on that level. It's directly Vaidush Pratyaksha. If he is speaking that, serving Krishna, that's the sweetest thing in the life. So he means it. He is living it. He has realized it. हम लोग बोल रहे हैं, but we
Vaidusha Pratyaksha Praman.
so Vaidush Pratyaksha applies to those who are bhava and prema.
Prabhupada is already well established. We can, but other devotees.
Criterion, bhava and prema. I told you. Vaidush Pratyaksha word is applied for those who are at the level of bhava and prema. So before that, it is all avaidush only. It's just that depending on one's level of consciousness, if one has made nishtha level, so his will be more impactful. So hearing from very advanced souls is considered to be very impactful. More you have opportunity to hear from exalted devotees, greater is the impact. So those opportunities we never want to lose. Other level of? Yeah, even in a pure devotee's Vani, all four sounds will be there, Prabhu. We accept that all four sounds of level are there. So, like when talking to a conditioned soul, that sound will be Vaikhari, no doubt. But then they are also able to access Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama sounds. That is the point. Yes, they are able to access. They are able to. Like their japa, their chanting will be directly at para level. That sound is at a para level. So, yeah, so that influence will come. Yeah. But now when you hear, meaning we hear Prabhupada's japa, so we may be able to perceive only the Vaikhari aspect of that. Although he chanting at the level of para, because it is nama directly in his case. But yes, in material world, with material body, if somebody is speaking, that sound will be certainly having all the four factors. That is how it is. Okay. So, all right. Every word we hear has a meaning behind it. Meaning it should have a meaning behind it. Otherwise, yeah, it's not a word. It's not a shabda. As soon as we hear the word water, there is a substance water behind the word. Similarly, as soon as we hear the word God, there is a meaning to it. If we receive that meaning and explanation of God from God Himself, then it is perfect. So that's what the speech should be meaningful. Mitam cha saram cha vachohi vagmita iti. Even Chaitanya Chaitamrit says. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, essential truth spoken concisely is known as true eloquence. That is mitam cha saram cha. मितवाक और सारवाक होना चाहिए, उसको वाग्मिता बोलते हैं. वाग्मिता means eloquent speech, like that. What is this? It's coming because of me? Pro version upgrade. Everybody wants to upgrade to pro version. Okay. Bhutanam छिद्रदातृत्वम बहिरंतरमेव च प्राणेन्द्रियात्मधिष्ण्यत्वम नभसो वृत्ति लक्षणम.
Activities and characteristics of the ethereal element can be observed as accommodation for the room for the external and internal existences of all living entities, namely the field of activities of the vital air, the senses, and the mind.
Yeah. So nabhasa vritti. Now the function of nabhas, meaning function of ether. huh? So bhutanam chidra. It accommodates. It gives the room for accommodation of all the living entities, all the living things, or inanimate things, animate things, everything. Accommodation for the room for external and internal existence. So, like everything is contained within the ether. And then bahirantaram, not only external, but inside also, inside our body also. The ether substance is there. And that's why prana, indriya, atma, dhishnya. Dhishnya means seat. Everything is said to be on the seat of ether. Everything, right? Like this thing is kept here. So it is carrying some space within that ether. So sometimes the word akash is used also by these people, Mayavadis. Ghatakash, Patakash, Sarvakash, they will say like that. So you have this. So suppose this was a ghata, or take that glass. So ghata. So ghatakash, it is having some space. As soon as you destroy it, to ghatakash, sarvakash. It became sarvakash. Yeah. But it is not true, right? It is not true. The amount of space that was taken by that particular glass or anything, so that remains, no? That just remains. Ether, when this particular glass is kept, so it has cut down some part of ether, that much volume. So when you destroy that thing, is it that cut volume of that, it has merged into the sarvakash? No, that much volume remains only. It's just that the reference to see that ether being separated by this form, that has gone away. Now you are just seeing the whole ethereal thing. Otherwise, that volume remains only of the ether. So they will say Ghatakash Sarvakash or Patakash Sarvakash. Pat means the mat, chatai. Sometimes devotees say Ghatakash, Patakash. Pataka kya hai? There is no Patakash. Pata means mat, mattress. So mattress, Ghatakash, and the ghata, the clay pot is taking some space in ether. Patakash, the mattress is taking some space in ether. And when they are destroyed, Sarvakash, that space in ether just becomes merged in the whole ether. So similarly, they say we are right now having this individual existence because of this individual body. As soon as individual body is destroyed, it's all Sarvakash. It's all just one substance only. That way. But you can give fancy examples like this, but then Shastra should also substantiate it, no? Right? Shastra is not saying, Mamevamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. It is saying, that example is there. Kumara speak this example. So that is spoken in different context, but this is not the context. Yeah. It is spoken in different context. Kumara speak it to Prithu.
Sometimes a statement as Eko Brahma Dvitiya Nasti. So that is spoken in which sense?
This context only, that
They say that they refer this like
correct,
this.
exactly. So Eko Brahma Dvitiyan Nasti, but then you also Bhume Rapo Analobayo Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha Ahankariti Amme Bhinna Prakriti. उसका क्या है फिर? भिन्ना में प्रकृति, तो मैं भिन्न हूं, ये प्रकृति भिन्न है, इधर ही डिस्टिंक्शन कर दिया कृष्ण ने, you know. So you have to recognize that these sort of statements are there, these are there, and then reconcile it. So Eko Brahma Dvitiyan Nasti is in the sense of there is only one Supreme Lord or Supreme Truth, nothing else. But that Supreme Truth has his energies. So when we say there is only one Supreme Truth, meaning Lord and his energies, that's the Supreme Truth. उसको छोड़ के दुनिया में कुछ नहीं है. Bhagwan and Bhagwan's energies. So, Eko Brahma, what is that Brahma? That Brahma is Samasta Shaktiman Krishna. Lord with unlimited energies. That's one Brahma. And Dvitiya Nasti. Apart from this, there is nothing. We agree. It is like that. So, Lord and his energies is that Ek. This is the point. Otherwise, no, all these statements where Krishna is speaking of multiple energy, Parasya Shaktir Vivedhai Vashruyat. Kaise bologe aap? What is the meaning of that? So then they say that Vyavharika hai ye.
Another Vasudeva Sarvamiti is also this part. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. Also interpret like that.
But वो तो उनके उल्टा जाता है श्लोक ज्यादा. Because everything is Vasudev, then who is Vasudev? So if they say they have to give meaning to Vasudev also, then Brahman. They can't say Vasudev as Krishna, right? If they say Vasudev as Sri Krishna, so Sri Krishna is everything is not Mayavad philosophy. It is not. Because as per them, Ishvara is also illusion. तो हाँ, so वासुदेव सर्व है, ये तो फिर वो अपने ही पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहा है, saying like that. तो कौन से? Yeah. But there it is not meaning like that. It is speaking about, उसके पहले की लाइन देखो ना क्या है, बहुनाम जन्मन्ते जन्मनामन्ते माम प्रपद्यते. तो फिर ये दो तोड़ दिया तुमने. मुझे मेरी शरण में आता है ये सोचते हुए कि वासुदेव ही सब कुछ है. तो मतलब आप कहना क्या चाहते हो? ही इज कंसिडरिंग ब्रह्मन एज द सुप्रीम, बट शेल्टर में जा रहा है कृष्ण के, ये क्या है? So it is doesn't make sense. So there Vasudev and Mam, they are one only, one person. So then they say that ये व्यावहारिक है actually. They say it is व्यावहारिक, it's not final, ultimate truth. तो अगर कोई somebody is telling you that Vasudev Sarvamitim is supporting Mayavad, so he has not studied Mayavad well. Because that's not how it is. Mayavad is not being supported by that verse. Yeah. They should quote some other verses like अव्यक्तम व्यक्तिम आपन्नम वगैरह. वो ठीक है, वो थोड़े उनके लिए अच्छे verses है. So anyway, the point is this. Because Brahman is without energies.
Qualities and energies, so we cannot allocate that thing to Brahman.
एकदम energies Brahman को बोल दिया मतलब you have destroyed Mayavad, finished. They just don't accept any energies.
Then it's so difficult for them to take the statements which has so many.
This is the thing. This is the thing. They will neglect it.
So only it has to be applied on a person with so many energies. Then only complete. Majority of Shastra is balanced with that.
That's the point. That is how Ramanujacharya speaks. So by some divine power, you are echoing the thoughts of Ramanujacharya.
By your association.
So he speaks like that only. Most of the Shastras is speaking like this. What are you speaking? The mind, the senses, and the vital force of or a living entity have forms not visible to the naked eye. Form rests existence in the sky, and internally it is perceived as the veins within the body and the circulation of the vital air. So Prabhupada is saying that all these things like pran, indriya, atma, all of them, they are sheltered or they are within the ether. Ether forms as the dhishnya, as the seat for all of them. So it's all resting within it. Like that. Like Krishna also says, Yathakasha sthito vayu Nityam sarvatra go mahan. Krishna also gives that example in Bhagavad Gita. He says that the air and everything, although they can freely move everywhere, but still they are within the shelter of ether. यथाकाश स्थितो नित्यम, जैसे आकाश में स्थित वायु, आकाश मीनिंग ईथर, अगेन देयर आल्सो ईथर. So but sarvatra go mahan, it can move everywhere. It has, but it has the shelter. So similarly he says all the living entities can move everywhere in the material world, but then they remain under my shelter. They remain under, I remain the overall seat or controller. They can't go beyond his control. They all remain under his control and shelter. So he's giving the example of ether there. Externally, there are invisible forms of sense objects. The production of the invisible sense objects is the external activity of the ethereal element, and the circulation of vital air and blood is its internal activity. That subtle forms exist in the ether has been proven by modern science by transmission of television. Right? All these subtle things, the waves and all. And then we see that when the gross receiver takes it, then you can see the picture. So subtle existences, they do exist in the ether. Prabhupada jo hai wo, and he's taking the discussion to form directly. Actually, ether is sound, but he's taking beyond sound to the form also. Yeah, he's taking the shelter to the form straight away. So what you were saying?
Photographs transmitted. So it is transmitted signal and receiver decodes again, then it produces another photograph at that level. It's not that form is transmitted, right? So ether में कैसे form से relate कर सकते हैं? मतलब how to understand that?
No, it's basically for the purpose of sound actually. The whole transmission of sound that is happening. So that sound is coming through the ether and it is being produced from one place, it is being heard at another place. Now form aspect needs the element of also fire. It will be additional. So Prabhupada is taking the discussion ahead actually. The form aspect will need some additional substance also along with that. But sound you can consider. Sound level though certainly the ether, it is accepting the sound and producing at another place. So like that. So form though it will come ahead discussion. Yes. Nabasa shabda tan matrat kalagatya vikurvatah sparsho bhavat tato vayus tvak sparshasya cha sangrahah.
From
Yes.
ethereal existence, which evolves from sound, the next transformation takes place under the impulse of time, and thus the subtle elements touch, and thence the air and sense of touch become prominent.
Yeah. So from sound, the ether had come, and then from ether, under the effect of time, that ether gets transformed into, under the impulse of time, it gets transformed into next sense object called as sparsha, touch. And from sparsh comes the air. First, the sense objects is getting manifested, and then the gross sense. Subtle things first, and then from subtle comes the gross. That is Vedantic understanding. Cause is considered to be subtle and effect is gross. So here cause is the sound, and from which the effect is ether, which is gross. Then we see from after ether gets transformed by the time, it gets transformed into sense of sparsha, which is subtler. And from sparsha, touch comes the air. So in that format. Sound is grosser, or from then what? From the air? No. See, sound we are able to hear like that. But ether substance is all pervading. Now we can't see it but it is being treated as a grosser substance. How is that? I don't know. I can't also answer because ether का explanation ही नहीं है वैसा ज़्यादा. But ether is said to be in Pancha Mahabhuta, which is grosser, while sound is subtler. But as you are saying, yes, we can hear the sound. How do you ascertain the ether, except the words of the Shastras? So, no idea, how that is done. What is the sparshatvam? Sparsha meaning touch. What are the characteristics or functions, you could say? Mrudutvam kathinatvam cha shaityam ushnatvam eva cha etat sparshasya sparshatvam tanmatratvam nabhasvatah.
Softness and hardness and cold and heat are the distinguishing attributes of touch, which is characterized as the subtle form of air.
Yeah. So the aspect of touch is there and the air is there, right? So when we talk about touch, so that touch means it will have some characteristic like either it is soft touch or it is certain things like hard or it is cold or it is heat. So it is understood by the effect that we perceive in the sparsha, right? That's why it is considered to be subtler. But air, we can see that the air is flowing, the air breeze, it is more readily accessible and understandable. Sparsha, if we want to capture sparsha and keep somewhere, is it possible? Touch, we can't capture and keep, but you can capture air and keep. The air is there. So that's why air is considered subtler in that sense. So that air, that sparsha, touch, it has these aspects only, just temperature or softness, hardness. That's the thing. Tangibility is the proof of form, Prabhupada says. In fact, again, here, he's speaking primarily of actually touch here, more than form. Tangibility is the proof of touch. Because right now here, the topic is going on of touch. Like you can see the air, and if the air is hot, you put inside hand and you can see tangibly that the air is hot here. But does the air have form? It does not have form. So although he is saying tangibility is the proof of form, so it is one step ahead now. Tangibility is the proof of touch actually. By touch, you can understand something is tangible or not. And form also certainly is tangible, like that. So prior also, Prabhupada was talking in terms of form only. There the sound discussion was there. Here also. So form certainly have touch, form certainly have the sound aspect also. If you are going by the context, yes, it is primarily applying to actually that particular sense object. Like here, what is the sense object that we are speaking? Touch. So that's why tangibility is the proof of touch. And form also has a touch. So that's why, form does have the tangibility aspect. Like that. But some things which don't have form also can have touch aspect. Isn't it? ऐसा है कि नहीं? Heat है ऐसा, cold है, heat है. Some gases like nitrogen, so it may be very cold. You can experience it. It has that aspect of touch, but it may not have form. So that's how. In actuality, objects are perceived in two different ways. They are either soft or hard, cold or hot. Okay. This tangible action of the tactile sense. So now here he comes back to the discussion. It is of tactile sense, meaning it is of touch aspect. It's the result of the evolution of air, which is produced from the sky. So the aspect of air is there, meaning whether various gases or whatever, that whole aspect comes under air, whichever gas it is, nitrogen or hydrogen or whatever. The aspect of air is covered in that. So that has the aspect of touch or tangibility. That is mentioned over here. You were saying something?
Is related to air.
Yeah.
Like how we are touching now. So what is happening to air? How
See, this experience of whether that particular object is cold or heat, that aspect of touch is governed by the air. So like if you see the aspect of the air, even like they have done these experiments, like if something is being touched or perceived in completely airless, in a vacuum place, so the whole aspect of temperature changes there if it is free from air, if there is just no air there. So something that which is perceived as hot or cold, and you put it in vacuum, so the perception of that hot and cold is completely different. So air is influencing that perception. If it is devoid of the air, so it will have. Now, how does science completely analyzes that? We have to see that. But air influences the perception of temperatures. Air influences the perception of maybe hot and cold. We can readily understand. Soft and hard is difficult to understand, right? How the air is influencing that aspect. Yeah.
And also we are touching, there's no air, direct surface contact. But if you take atom never touches, then there is air in between. Maybe, I don't know.
The air is there, meaning like even though we are touching it, we are more speaking in terms of experience. The experience of the touch is being governed by air. That is our point. The action itself may not be governed by air, but you see how they are defining is mrudutvam, kathinatvam, shaityam, ushnam. So it's in terms of effect. So how that effect is governed by air, that's the key factor there.
Yes.
Yeah. Mrudutvam, kathinatvam, yeah, at least from scientific basis, how it is, it doesn't seem to be making sense.
So softer, no? They have a greater air space in them, and those who are harder, they don't have a very much space in them. So in that sense, maybe they are describing.
This is actually water, Prabhu. It's water. It's harder and softer, no? As per Shastra, it is water content, because water's characteristic also be described ahead. So something is, perceived as soft or hard. If you are talking from inside, what is there? So inside it is water. But the feeling or that particular touch, how it is being perceived, that is influenced by air externally. Inside, you see, water is there, it will become extremely soft. Like sometimes some dead body also, because it becomes all watery. So it practically becomes like a balloon. It becomes extremely soft. Of course, the air element can also be there in that, both the things. But especially softness, hardness, it is connected by even Ayurveda or by Shastras to water, watery content. How much is the water? Like that. But the experience of that atmospheric condition, how it is perceived, whether it is hot or it is cold, like that, that is given to the air, and that is caused by air, that aspect. So maybe water and air both have their roles to play for making something as hot or cold, or soft or hard. Like if this substance is there, to the degree it is devoid of water, to that degree it will be hard. If it has water, then it will become soft, very much. Okay. So that is sparshasya, sparshatvam. And tanmatra, it is tanmatra of the air, nabhasvata. Nabhasvata means air. This tangible action of the tactile sense, Prabhupada says, is the result of evolution of air. Meaning air is affecting this tactile sense, whether something is hot or cold, soft or hard. What is the characteristic of air itself? Chalanam vyuhanam praptir netritvam dravya shabdayoho sarvendriyanam atmatvam vayoho karma bhilakshanam.
The action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other sense perceptions, and providing for the proper functioning of all the other senses.
The air action you see is exhibited in movements, certainly, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other perceptions. Yes, because of air, we see that the Vaikhari sound travels. Other sounds travel even without air. But Vaikhari sound, for traveling, it needs not only the ether, but also the air. So, netritvam, allowing approach to the objects of sound. And certainly other sense perceptions like smell. If smell has to be carried, then you need air only. Without air, it's not possible. The smell will not be carried. So that is allowing approach. Netritvam, leke jata hai. So it carries things like smell, things like sound, and providing for the proper functioning of all other senses. And of course, air is needed for functioning of all other senses. That is more or less common characteristic of all five, but especially air, because pranas, again, air is needed within the body so that all the senses function very properly, right? Vaat imbalance हो गया तो मालूम है क्या हो जाता है. Right? If Vata gets imbalanced, then the senses become extremely problematic, right? Sometimes somebody has a Vata problem and you can see they cannot move the body little bit also. They will say, shout, because Vata is causing such intense pain. So it will not move only, proper function, like that. 3-4 years back, I had also developed some Vata, and because of that, severe back pain. So little bit also you cannot move. It will be, you are like locked only in that position. And slowly then you have to try. Then I did a lot of yoga and then it went away permanently. Then back pain never came later. So point is that, yes, providing the proper functioning. And what to speak of other aspects caused by Vata, we know that not only this joint pains and all, but even other aspects like digestion and like even for brain and all, the air is very important. We can perceive the action of air when the branches of tree move. Something is like this curtain is moving. So we understand that it is action of air. Suchalanam is that. Vyuhanam, collecting something and picking it up. Like dry leaves on the ground are collected together by wind. Similarly, it is only by the action of the air that a body moves. Vat. And when the air circulation is impeded, many diseases result. Like paralysis, sandhivat, we say also. So amongst the joints, the air proportion goes off. So paralysis, nervous breakdowns, madness. Even from Mahaprabhu they were saying, when Mahaprabhu came from Gaya and he was just mad in love of Godhead, they said, iska vaat jo hai, thoda bigad gaya hai. Somewhere saying like that. Vaat bigad gaya pura. Isliye he is like jumping and he's crying all the time. This way, Shiva Vaat. Shiva oil. Right. Yes. And many other diseases are actually due to insufficient circulation of air. In the Ayurvedic system, these diseases are treated on basis of air circulation. If from the beginning one takes care of the process of air circulation, such diseases cannot take place. Like that. So we see that Ayurveda also, especially that Vata aspect, it treats very severely. Kapha, Pitta, Vata, all this. Here it is also stated Netrutvam Dravya Shabdayoho. Our sense of proprietorship over action is also due to the activity of the air. If the air circulation is stifled, we cannot approach a place after hearing. Yeah, basically, functioning of whole body is dependent on air. So he's speaking that aspect. Vayoscha sparshatan matra drupam daive ritad abhut samuttitam tatas tejas chakshu rupopalambhanam.
By interactions of the air and the sensation of touch, one receives different forms according to destiny. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eye sees different forms in color.
Yeah. So we'll take a break. We'll chant Gayatri. 38. See, I'm going to stop at 53. So then in tomorrow's session, I will extend the session a little bit. And that 53 to 72, as I said, it is just half an hour discussion. I'll complete that, and then I'll also complete the next chapter tomorrow. This much I want to do tomorrow. Okay. So what remains is one chapter 28. So that we will, mostly I'll give a recording. You can complete by hearing in a common class. You can put and complete. Okay. So we'll meet and complete, go till 53. Of course, once these characteristics are described, it is then just summary only, rest of the verses here also. So, okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, so then the next one, after the sense object of touch and the subsequent creation of air, what's the next now? Form. Yes. And form, and what is the sense? Sense object is the form. And what is the element? Fire. Fire is the element. So that is spoken here. So we see that the form was created by the effect of time, and then there is fire. We read the verse, right? This verse we read. So all the places Daiveritad Abhut or effect of time is spoken everywhere. So you see all these words basically are talking about the time's effect that is happening. It's not that every time Lord is glancing again and again at the element. It's being spoken of one time when Lord invested. So then we see that after that, this whole process is begun. So automatically that process is going through. After some time, this developed. After some time, this sense object. After this, sometime this sense object. Like that it is going. It is being generated. So what are the characteristics or functions of form? Dravya gunata vyakti samsthatma vacha tejastvam tejasah sadvi rupamatrasya vrittayah.
My dear mother, the characteristics of the form are understood by dimension, quality, and individuality. The form of fire is appreciated by its effulgence.
Yeah. So, form. What are the characteristics? Dravyakriti. Akriti, it has a shape. So, form means it should have a shape. Gunata, it should have attributes. Then it's said to be having some form. Vyakti samstha, also individuality. It should have some individuality. Then it is said to be having a form. That is tejastvam, meaning that's the characteristic of having a form, formness. Rupamatrasya vrittayah. These are we see the characteristic of Rupamatra. Meaning the form has these characteristics. It is a sense object of fire, the form. So dimension, shape, dimension, this is needed whenever we talk about a form, right? Like that. So we see that form, this aspect is there for spiritual substances also and material substances also. Material things have dimensions, spiritual things also have dimensions, but they don't have dimensions like material things. So if we hear about dimensions of spiritual things, it is just to show that aspect that it has a form. And those dimensions exactly cannot be matched with material dimensions. Like spiritual, like substance, which soul, a soul has a certain dimension, right? What is that dimension? 1/10,000 of tip of the hair, keshagra. So now it's difficult, right, to understand that, keshagra means exactly how much is that keshagra? Tip of the hair, but the tip should have some length at least. What is that length? Of tip of the hair. But see, tip means you take the top, right? That is tip. But what about the length? That is, yeah, agree. Yeah, agree. But still, dimensions means like even if you want to take tip, then you will have to speak in terms of length, breadth, height, LBH. So what is the length? Acha, whose hair? It is porcupine hair? Porcupine's hair or human hair? We are assuming human hair, keshagra, right? Porcupine का रहता था तो फिर मोटा है टप्पू एकदम like that. But human hair we are considering. अच्छा, in human also then, grown up man or a child, whose hair, tip of the hair. So you see, it is the dimensions is not making much sense there. But still it is being spoken. So Bhaktivedanta of soul being extremely fine, infinitesimal, very small. But if we start taking literally the dimensions, then it will be difficult. It cannot, because even to measure the soul in terms of LBH, length, breadth, height, like the material objects, it is not possible. Those dimensions don't apply only to the spiritual things. So that's why everything in the material world, if it is being if the spiritual things are being shown like something material, it is more like a suchak. Shakha Chandra Nyaya, we say also, right? The logic of the moon and the branches. So Krishna is like 6.5 feet. So to give you some sense of it, his body is like 16-year-old boy. Now, in this world, how does a 16-year-old boy look like? So some sort of resemblance is being given there. His body is somewhat like a fresh monsoon cloud. But when one sees Krishna, he will feel like this is nothing like fresh monsoon cloud. वो तो एकदम, like Brahmaji says like that in 9th canto, when he gets the darshan of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, he says that all that I had heard about you appears to be useless now. All those similes and metaphors describing you, because what you are is like so much, much, much more beautiful than that. So all those similes and metaphors become meaningless in a way. So dimensions also like that actually. Thumb size of the Paramatma or Pradesha Matram, this much. अभी पहलवान का ये और बच्चे का ये, right? So is it that Paramatma is growing within his body? Because a childhood Pradesh Matram is this much, but a grown-up man's Pradesh Matram would increase, no? So it is to give some sense that when yogi starts seeing Paramatma in the heart, no, he sees something like that dimension. He sees of that Pradesh Matram, that much. He doesn't see it like some huge mountain-like form. He sees of somewhat like. So that is considered suchak. It is indicative. That's why those dimensions are not spoken always in like exact calculated terms. No. Sometimes Pradesh Matram, sometimes Angushta Matram. So 16 inches, 6 inches or 9 inches, like that. Person.
Oh, what term, just like stones there and everything, even whatever here is rocks,
Yeah.
and everything is person there. So which sense it is said?
It's sense in the sense that they have emotions, they have feelings.
Means may not be personality like Gopa, Gopis, but
Yeah.
they have emotions.
They're like stone. Meaning stone is like a stone, but they have emotions. Stone is also a person. So when Krishna comes and sits on that, he is ecstatic that Krishna is sitting on me as a stone, or Krishna is having some pastime or like that. Every stone feels like Krishna should come and sit on me. I should get the touch. Krishna should rest his arm on me. So that's the person aspect, personal.
And that is like river is there, Adhishtan, and you said a personality also. So that concept is also there.
There, see, the point is that it's there in the material world. Adhishthana, Adhishtatari concept is explained over here. It is in material world's context. Because Adhishthana is said to be devoid of the consciousness. Adhisthata or Adhishthatri is only having the consciousness. So there we see that the waters themselves have consciousness, no? So that's why it is, if we are taking that concept there, the river itself is a conscious person. Does she have another form? Well, some river like, Yamuna and all is different, but in the spiritual world, everything is conscious. So you don't have to have that distinction. Ki Adhisthata is conscious and Adhishtan is not conscious. Everything is conscious. The water is conscious, the leaves are conscious, and the tree is conscious. Everyone is conscious. So in that way, they are persons like that. So form is some particular form, but consciousness is always there. So that's why emotions are there. But some of them, they have more intense emotions or practical surveys. So based on that, then the rasa is formed. But all are having emotion and all are having that devotion for the Supreme Lord. And that aspect is there. So that's how form means it should have dimensions. So that's why air is said to be formless. Air does not have a form like that. Some things, we see that they are having form, or some things are formless. The quality, every form that we appreciate has its particular dimensions and characteristics. The quality of a particular object is appreciated by its utility. But the form of the sound is independent. Forms which are invisible can be understood only by touch. That is the independent appreciation of invisible form. Some forms may be invisible, but that means that their existence or their shape is lying on another level. It's not there on gross level, it may be on subtler level, like demigods, devatas. So they also exist. They also have a form, but that form is not visible to the gross senses. It's visible to the subtle senses. Even subtler is the spiritual form. That is not visible even to the devatas. That is because it is subtlest. It is a transcendental form. So just because something is invisible doesn't mean that it does not have a form. So it may still have a form, but the dimension of its existence, the substance of which it is made up of, that may be completely different. So if you see the transcendental formless substance and transcendental form, both phenomena are there. What is transcendental formless substance? That is Brahman, Brahmajyoti. And what is transcendental form? That is Supreme Lord, Paramatma, or Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. These are transcendental forms. Similarly, matter, we see that. So material things also, they may have form and they may not have form also. Formless matter and form, some matter which has form also. So that's why Jiva Goswami says that, when we talk about aspect that, okay, God is unlimited, so that's why it cannot have form. So the limitation is not in terms of form or formlessness. The limitation is in terms of matter. Matter is like that. A matter, if you have matter and it has a certain form, suppose take any matter, it has a form. Now, if you destroy that matter, you explode it, so it may lose its form, that akriti, shape, vagara. It is limited. Before it was limited, and you destroyed its form, so it has become unlimited. ऐसा होता है क्या? नहीं होता. So matter is limitation, whether it is with shape or without shape, like that. So similarly, he says that for Supreme Lord, even if he has spiritual shape, well, aspect of Supreme Lord, even though he has whether spiritual shape or whether he has spiritual no shape or spiritual formlessness, the point is the spirit itself, especially when applied to the Supreme Lord, as a Vibhu, the spirit is always unlimited only. For a Vibhu, अणु के लिए तो वो limited हो जाएगी. But because Lord's form is Vibhu, so whether he takes that transcendental formlessness or whether he takes the transcendental form, he remains unlimited. So this Mayavadis say, no, how can he have a form? Because if he has a form, how can he be unlimited? How can he be all-pervading if he has a form? So that's not a problem with form. The problem is with the substance. If matter is a substance, then whether you have matter shape-wise or form-wise or formless matter, दोनों केस में matter is going to be limited or unlimited? It will be limited. It is limited. It is carrying some space here, meaning it is not all-pervading. But spirit, for Vibhu, the Supreme Lord, it's not like that. Whether formless or form, it is unlimited only. He remains Vibhu. So that is the point. Which form? It's not of matter. नहीं होता, वही, that's there. But how they see is, Mayavadis see that even if you say that the form is spiritual, but if that form has a dimension aspect, then they say it is limited. So that argument is being refuted. That it's not point of whether dimension or no dimension. It's point of what is the upadan. This is the thing. Got it, right? By saying that the matter, it dictates the limitation. Matter dictates the limitation. Form does not dictate the limitation. This is how we refute. So even if it is spiritual form, it is not going to dictate any limitation. Because that's the nature of spirit. It is not. So that's what Prabhu. Even if it has a certain dimension, but this approach of restrictive, saying that Because it is here, so it is not there. That aspect is not applicable for the spiritual. Okay. Okay, so that is it. That's the form aspect. And what is the characteristic of fire or function of fire? Dyotanam pachanam panam adanam hima mardanam tejaso vrittayastveta shoshanam shutradevacha. Yes, read.
Fire is Fire is appreciated by its light and by its ability to cook, to digest, to destroy cold, to evaporate, and to give rise to hunger, thirst, eating, and drinking.
So vrittis or functions of fire have been mentioned. The fire has a function of illumination very clearly. What is a fire that doesn't have illumination? LPG, or whatever, all these different sort of fires. So fire means it will have illumination aspect. Dyotanam. Pachanam, cooking, certainly, right? Very clear. Digestive fire is needed. Otherwise, we can't digest the food. Adanam, panam, drinking. Adanam, eating. Himamardanam, it destroys the cold. Hima means cold. These are the functions. Along with that, also Shoshanam evaporates. It causes hunger, thirst. These are the functions of fire. The first symptoms of fire are distribution of light and heat, and the existence of fire is also perceived in the stomach. So light and heat, these are the characteristic of fire. Fire has to have light and it also has to have heat. Light matlab, see that aspect of fire is there. So it has that internal aspect of effulgence. Now, is it lighting up the the stomach or like that? That we won't say. But fire means yes, this aspect is there. Light and heat aspect is certainly there. There, the heat aspect may be more experienced, and light may not be experienced much. But these aspects certainly are there. And the existence of fire is also perceived in the stomach, right? Like without fire, we cannot digest what we eat. Obviously, without digestion, there is no hunger and thirst or power to eat and drink. So if the Agni becomes very manda, it is called Agni Mandya, right? Which means very low, weak digestive fire. So such a person cannot digest even chapati or roti or whatever, some rice also. Only health khichdi. That also may be difficult to digest sometime. When there is insufficient hunger and thirst, it is to be understood that there is shortage of fire within the stomach. And the Ayurvedic treatment is performed in connection with fire element, Agni Mandya. So fire is also connected to bile, pitta, straight. Those who have very great fire, the pitta is very strong. Those who have less fire, pitta is not very strong. Kapha may be strong for those. So we see that it pertains to especially this aspect. So those who have very strong pitta, then such people should not fast much because that will cause their body trouble. In general, even for those who have strong pitta, fasting is recommended, but with water. Then nirjala is not so much recommended. See, in general, nirjala fasting is once in a while is okay. Too much nirjala fasting is not considered good. Sajala fasting is very good, but nirjala can cause trouble. Except, of course, what we have is once, like 3-4 times in a year. That's all. So that we can easily do. But as per Ayurveda, nirjala is not considered a very good fasting. If it's at a very low frequency, then it is okay. Otherwise, sajala, at least water should be there. Water should be maintained, because if water goes down, then person develops a lot of pitta problem or other problems in the body, dehydration and all that we say, right? So even if somebody is fasting for health purposes and all, water can always be drunk. Water is good. रूपमात्राद्विकुर्वाणा तेजसो दैव चोदितात् रसमात्रम अभूत तस्माद् अम्भो जिह्वा रसग्रहः.
By the
Yes.
interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested.
And then finally, the taste, rasa. Two more. Rasa, and from rasa, water is produced. So, their characteristics. Kashayo madhuras tiktaha katvamla iti nekada bhautikanam vikarena rasayeko vibhidyate.
Although originally one, taste becomes manifold as astringent, sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, and salty due to contact with other substances.
Yeah. So taste, the rasa, it is especially functional in 6 different tastes. These 6 tastes: bitterness, astringent, sweet, pungent, sour. In 6 different ways, shad rasa, the taste is manifested. What about the water, characteristics of water? Kledanam pindanam triptihi prananapyayanondanam tapapanodo bhuyastvam ambhaso vrittayastvima.
The characteristics of water are exhibited by its moistening other substances, coagulating various mixtures, causing satisfaction, maintaining life, softening things, driving away heat, incessantly supplying itself to reservoirs of water, and refreshing by slaking thirst.
Yeah. So quite clear. The functions of water are kledanam, it moistens something. Pindanam, if you mix it with mud or something, then you can make a pinda. You can cause it coagulation. Trupti, when you drink, it causes great satisfaction. Water refreshes. Undanam, it softens something. Tapa, heat. Tapa, no, the meaning drives away heat. Bhuyastvam, being in abundance. So these are all the that is making it more abundant. Like in milk, they use the phenomenon in milk. पानी भर भर के डाल देते हैं. So it becomes so much milk available. Right? Very rare to get pure milk, no? Very rare. That cow herd boy or cow herd man, very rarely somebody who doesn't put water. They will put only. You have to have your own cows, then you get. So sometimes in some places you go and drink milk, and like I also recently in North India, one temple I went, I said, this is such a milk. He said, not a drop of water is put in this. So that was complete culture shock. Meaning complete, I drank that milk and I thought I have not drunk like this milk anywhere in the life. So immediately I called and I said, Prabhu, he said, directly from our Goshala, not a single drop of water is put in this. It is brought, it is heated, boiled, offered to the Lord, and you are getting it. Yes, so this is the real milk. So that sort of feeling I did not get anywhere else. Of course, depends upon the particular cow also. Yeah. I think here also we are getting very pure milk, right? From directly from Saswat. Zero drop of water, like that. So, yes, very special. Uh, Starvation can be mitigated by drinking water. It is sometimes found that if a person who has taken a vow to fast takes a little water at intervals, the exhaustion of fasting is at once mitigated. Actually, with water, the fasting becomes very easy. It's not difficult. Nirjala is formidable, like that. Recently, I also, for health purpose, started fasting a little bit. So I thought with water, it is very easy. Yeah. It's not at all difficult. But the nature of body is like the more you feed it, the more it wants. So I started observing Ekadashi, just sajala. I don't take anything on Ekadashi now. No fruits also. And it is very easy to do. But if you eat fruits, then it wants dosa. Then if you eat dosa, then it wants 2 times fresh dosa, not just once. If you eat 2 times, then it says morning you should give something. So that's how the body's nature is. Like more you give, of course, those who need it should take. I am not against it. What I'm saying is that's how it is. No, mind is like so tricky. अरे तुमको एक बार मिल रहा है ना, you be happy. No, 2 times, 3 times. It's like that. So best way to deal with it is just switch it off. Give one knock and say that अभी तो सजला ही बस बोलो अभी, और सफला, फ्रूट्स छोड़ के कुछ खाऊंगा ही नहीं. So it will manage with that very happily. Then you switch it off like that. Of course, depends for individuals like that. But I am also not very. I mean, for me, austerity is tough also. But that when I started doing that for Ekadashi Prabhu, now it is so easy. It is like very easy. You drink water and it's peaceful. Otherwise, mind gets into, you know, all different recipes for Ekadashi, right? वो एक अपने में एक फील्ड बन गए इस्कॉन में. एकादशी के दिन का सब रिसर्च, ये खा सकते, ये खा सकते, एकादशी पिज्जा, एकादशी पास्ता, एकादशी समोसा, एकादशी देश, एकादशी. अरे क्या, वेयर वी आर गोइंग, राइट? I was in Udupi, and then that's where I got inspiration also. In Udupi, so many places, nowhere you were getting anything. Anybody you ask in Udupi, they are saying, "Oh, Maharaj, today is Ekadashi." So Nirjala, they all observe Nirjala in Udupi. So nothing, nowhere. To some place, I saw a lot of devotees are going. I said, "Where you are going?" He said, "One of Jayapalaka Maharaj is giving big feast, and all ISKCON devotees are there." So, there was this one place where it seems Maharaj's disciple is there, and he knows all ISKCON people are searching for Ekadashi food. So, he is doing great Vaishnava Seva by feeding everyone like that. But otherwise, the entire Udupi, complete Nirjala, they do. Of course, point is, if we need, then we should take also. But point is, that's how it is. On Ekadashi, if we start getting into too much of eating thing, it will not stop. It will go to research on Ekadashi items then. Itna zaruri nahi hai actually to make it so complex, right? So it's not needed. Shastra say 3 kinds of Ekadashi only, primarily. Nirjala, Sajala, Safala. उसके आगे जो है वो, that is all anyway adjustment. Safala is the final thing. So after that, then dosa, pasta, huh? Yes, all these different things getting added. But yeah, as long as it is approved and as long as we need it, it's okay. But I was just saying about the mind, how it is. For mind, if you lock something, then it becomes very quiet. Then it knows that there is no option. Abhi chupchap baithna padega. Like that. Before also many years I was following this Ekadashi, like especially when that Radhika Atta's, big scam happened. Radhika Atta had the rice rice flour in it. And that was being eaten by many ISKCON all over the world. Radhika Atta, Ekadashi special. And they found that it had rice substance used somewhere. तो पता नहीं उसने कितनी एकादशी उड़ा दी, कितने लोगों की. So after that, I also became very, like, I thought I will not eat anything but fruits. Because ये राधिका आटा, ललिता आटा और क्या क्या पता नहीं कौन कौन से आटे आएंगे. Of course, here our Shri Kumar Krishna Prabhu and all, they are very pakka, so they see everything very nicely and everything is very pure. But point is, yes, all these things are there. So Sajala is easy also. And it is also very much recommended by Ayurveda. Once in 15 days, if you just don't eat anything for 24 hours, it's considered to be a very great sign of good health. If you can manage that, it's considered. Starvation can be mitigated by drinking water. So that is read. With water, anything can be moistened or dampened. Flour dough can be prepared with a mixture of water. Mud is made by mixing earth with water. So all that. Rasamatrat vikurvanad ambhaso daiva choditat gandhamatram abhut tasmat prithvi ghranastu gandhagah.
Due to the interaction of water with the taste perception, the subtle element odor evolves under superior arrangement. Thence, the earth and the olfactory sense, by which we can variously experience the aroma of the earth, become manifest.
Yes. And finally, the subtle element of smell, gandha. And what is the sense associated with that element? With gandha, smell? No, earth. Earth. Element I'm saying, Panch Mahabhut. Yes. Nose is the organ, no doubt. Ghrana. The sense in the sense I'm saying of element actually. Yeah, earth. Yes. Prithvi. Earth. So what are their characteristics? Karambha puti saurabhya shanto gramladibhi prathak dravyavayava vaishamyat gandha eko vibhidyate.
Order, although one, becomes many as mixed, offensive, fragrant, mild, strong, acidic, and so on, according to the proportions of associated substances.
Yeah, so gandha, it can be all these different gandhas, offensive, fragrant, mixed, mild, strong, acidic, pungent, all that. Bad odors are perceived in filthy places. Good smells are perceived from camphor, menthol, and similar other products. Pungent smells are perceived from garlic and onions. Acidic smells are perceived from turmeric and similar sour substances. That is clear. Bhavanam brahmana sthanam dharanam sadvisheshanam sarvasattva gunodvedaha prithvi vritti lakshanam.
The characteristics of the function of the earth can be perceived by modeling forms of the Supreme Brahman, by constructing the places of residence, by preparing pots to contain water, etc. In other words, the earth is the place of sustenance for all the elements.
Yes. So you can see the characteristics or functions of Prithvi, the earth element, clay, is said to be Brahmanaha Bhavanam. Brahma ke roop banana. Brahma here means absolute truth. Brahmana Bhavanam, making the forms of the Supreme Brahman. So very clearly, the earth or clay should be used to make the forms, the deity forms of the Lord. Sthanam, constructing places of residence. Dharanam, patra, the reservoir of something, hold something. Dharanam. Sadvisheshanam, distinguishing the open space. Something is open and then you fill it up with earth, then you have distinguished This is open, this is closed. Sarva Sattva Gunodbhedaha. And it is basically the place of manifestation, which means that it also acts like a sthan for everything else. The earth is the place of sustenance for all elements. So each one of these element has the gunas of prior element. You know only that. Earth has the ether has the sound aspect. Then after ether, the next one is air. So it has touch and sound. Then after that, fire. It has form, touch, sound. Then after that, water, taste. And finally, earth, which has smell aspect. So it has all the five aspects. It has form, it has smell, shabda, rasa, sparsha, rupa, gandha, everything. Right? That's how the sound can carry when we hit. So it is said that the substances, they can make a sound and they can carry the sound also. The substances, the earth, clay substances. Earth can manifest different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this statement of Kapila, it is confirmed that Supreme Personality of Godhead Brahman has innumerable forms which are described in the scriptures. Right? So all this Brahmana Bhavanam that he is describing. So Lord can be made up of various transformations of earth like stone, wood, jewels. These are all different forms by which the deities can be made. Like the jewels also can be a substance from which the deity can be made. Sometimes jewel, that's the substance of a deity also. Stone is there, of course. Wooden deities, they are also there. When a form of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is manifested by presentation of a statue made up of earth, it is not imaginary, provided it is made up on the basis of Shastras and with proper Pran Pratishtha and everything. All these forms of Lord are described in the scriptures, and when they are thus presented, they become worshipable. They are not imaginary as the Mayavad philosophy says. Sometimes the word bhavana is misinterpreted as imagination. Dekho, Brahmana Bhavanam. So Mayavadis, they translate it as imagination. But actually, Bhava word ka original meaning is Satta, existence. So it is exactly opposite. When you say Bhavanam, no, it means actually existence. Why should it mean imagination? It is not a literal meaning. It is going away from literal meaning. Bhavana does not mean imagination. It means giving actual shape to the description of Vedic literature. A manifestation of Brahman, that is called Brahmana Bhavanam. So all these forms made up of earth, they become the authentic forms of Supreme Lord. Nabho guna visheshortho yasya chatchotram uchyate vayor guna visheshortho yasya tatsparshanam viduhu.
The sense whose object of perception is sound is called the auditory sense, and that whose object of perception is touch is called the tactile sense.
Yeah. So Shrotra or Sparshanam, the skin, these are also being defined. Which sense, which Indriya perceives which sense object. That's all. Tejo guna visheshortho yasya tachakshur uchyate ambho guna visheshortho yasya tadrasanam vidu bhumer guna visheshortho yasya sagrana uchyate.
The sense whose object of perception is form, the distinctive characteristic of fire is the sense of sight. And the sense whose object of perception is taste, the distinctive characteristic of water is known as the sense of taste. Finally, the sense whose object of perception is odor, the distinctive characteristic of earth, is called the sense of smell.
Yes. So all these senses are also spoken. Shrotra, Chakshu, Rasanam, Ghrana, all these knowledge acquiring senses. And these are subtle senses we are talking. They have outside object also. Ghrana means actually the power of smell, literally. And then that is there when you have Nasika. So that is Nasika. But Granam means the subtle sense, which is the subtle aspect of that sense. Rasanam, there is Jivva, which is gross tongue, but there is the subtle aspect of being able to taste by that tongue. So that is Rasanam. Similarly, Chakshu. This is Netra. What we have is eyes, but Chakshu is that internal eye, uh, which actually has that aspect of power. So as per Vedanta, that sometimes even the gross organ may be destroyed, but the subtle power can remain. Like the nose may be destroyed, but still, under circumstances, it can be perceived that one is able to still have the sense of smell. Or sometimes the eyes may not be there, but still the chakshu can perceive something. They can perceive the objects which one has seen before, like that. In general, for a normal functioning, yes, all these three should be in place. The gross organ also, the subtle organ also, and the mind also. These three should be in place. If they are not, the perception will not occur. Faulty perception will occur. Like that, right? Even if the nose is there, and even if some nice smell of samosa is coming, but you were so miserable because somebody chastised you, तो आपने कभी नोट ही नहीं किया उसको. Everybody said that, अरे क्या बढ़िया smell आ रहा है, अच्छा कुछ आ रहा है क्या? You are thinking something else, because mind is not there. So that way, perception for occurring, all three should be there. So two more. परस्य दृश्यते धर्मो ह्यपरस्मिन् समन्वयात् अतो विशेषो भावानां भूमावेवोपलक्ष्यते.
Since the cause exists in its effect as well, the characteristic of the former are observed in the latter. That is why the peculiarities of all the elements exist in the earth alone.
Yeah. Cause exists in its effect. So we see that starting from the ether, so then subsequent all the substances or the tattvas, they carry the characteristic of the prior one. परस्य दृश्यते धर्मो ह्यपरस्मिन्. पिछले वाले का धर्म अगले वाले में दिखेगा आपको, including. So that's why all the characteristics are seen in bhumi or the earth element. It has sound, touch, form, taste, smell, everything is there in the earth. एतान्य संहत्य यदा महदादीनि सप्तवै कालकर्म गुणोपेतो जगदादिरूपाविशत्.
When all these elements were unmixed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of creation, along with time, work, and the qualities of the mode of material nature, entered into the universe with the total material energy in a 7 divisions.
Yeah, so all these elements were formed, and still they were not mixing with each other. They were unmixed only. So then what Supreme Lord does is, he enters into those elements and he takes all those elements into universe and he enters into the universe. See, all this while it is Mahat Tattva's transformation only, right? So the universes are not yet formed. So taking the elements from these Mahat Tattva, only universes will be formed later. So what Lord does is he enters into all these elements, and then that causes the combination of these elements, and by that the universe is formed. So having formed those universes, then he enters into the universe as which Vishnu? Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So the combination of all these elements is caused by, again, the agency of the Lord. So initially we see his glancing, it caused the whole transformation. But after the transformation is done and the basic 23 elements are created, so still they were not getting mixed up. They were just staying there as it is. So then Lord glances on it, enters into them, and then they start forming together. Because for universe to form, then they should come together, no? Universe has these 7 layers and all that. So you can see, after Mahatattva is generated, taking the contents from Mahatattva, then the universes are formed. So, universes popping out of Mahavishnu's body, it is like, you can understand that first Mahatattva is formed and taking substances from that, then the universe pop out of his body. So it's like Mahatattva, meaning material energy, first he is bringing out, glancing, creating all the elements, and it is practically like they are going inside and then coming out as the universes. So Brahma Samhita says that the universes come out of the pores of the Supreme Lord. So if Mahatattva is already out, so how are universes coming out of the pores? So that's why the explanation is this way only, that the substance of Mahatattva by Lord's own arrangement of Mahavishnu, it's taken by him, and then combining all that, then the universes come out of his mouth, come out of his pores, in which then he enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in each one of these universes, like that. Okay, so then now this next part of Virat Purusha and all is there. So this section now, 51 to 72, I'll just need half an hour to take, because it is just description of Virat Rupa. So we will see that tomorrow. And then I'll take the next chapter also. So in case tomorrow, if I need to extend, then I'll go till 2:30 or so, from 11. Or should we start before and end at 2? Which one is okay? Maybe half an hour only, because this section will take half an hour to 45 minutes. That much we don't need. We can do either, we can begin at 10:30 or we can end at 2:30. Because I'm 11 o'clock only, almost I'm beginning every day. Okay, so we'll do like that. 11 o'clock we'll do, and 2:30. If anybody needs to go for prasad, they can go also, no problem. So 10:30 is also okay. Is okay? ठीक है, 10:30. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. So this is all technical stuff. You may not be so much relishing, but yeah, we will get it done because it's part of Bhagavatam and Sankhya of Bhagavatam. At least principles we can know. Next chapter has yoga and jnana aspects, and it is more generic. This one is filled with tattvas.
Puji, when we say this Sankhya, in fact, in that when in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also, while defining Shuddha Bhakti, Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam, it is mentioned that Adi means Shadakuram Jigu Samyating says that Sankhya, Vairagya, and other things like that. So Sankhya is considered as sometimes different from Jnana, also like that, in that sense. So
Yeah.
that difference, what is exactly wanted to understand, Puji?
Correct. How is Sankhya different from jnana? So how is it is? Sankhya is considered to be the fundamental of jnana, but jnana should address the aspect of Atma Tattva. So if jnana, so within jnana, two aspects are there. There is Sankhya aspect which addresses the material tattvas, and there is other aspect which addresses Atma Tattva. So these are two sections under jnana. That's why when Krishna is explaining also in Bhagavad Gita 2.11 to 30, so that section sometimes is referred as Sankhya also. In fact, the chapter's name is also Sankhya Yoga. But वहां पे कौन से तत्वों की बात हो रही है? कोई भी तत्व नहीं बोले जा रहे उधर. The Atma Tattva is being described. So Sankhya and Jnana sometimes are interchangeably used. But if you want to technically see, yes, Sankhya is the aspect of material tattvas being counted, and Atma Tattva aspect, Atma Anatma Vivek, is what Krishna speaks there, actually, 2.10 to this. So you can use interchangeably also, but technically, Jnana has two aspects. One is the material tattva, where you are counting the elements, and second is the Atma Tattva, where you will speak about what is the nature of Brahman, what are the characteristics of Brahman, Vasamsi Janani Yatha Vihaya, and all those characteristics of soul that will also be discussed. So that is Sankhya and Jnana.
So when in that shloka, Jnana Karma Adi, it is mentioned and it is separately mentioned.
Yeah,
Jnana and Sankhya is separately mentioned.
correct.
So that how we understand, because Jnana, once it is said, Sankhya is included by default.
Included, it is included. So it is to make more, you can say, it is to make very crystal clear that, okay, under Jnana is over only, but especially sometimes, Sankhya can become also a great distractor because one is just caught up into, this material tattva and, elements and those details and all that. So practically, when you say Jnana, it includes Sankhya, certainly it is there within it. But it is being more distinguished, clearly being distinguished, because Sankhya can also, it's there in Bhagavatam and all, and somebody gets too much caught up into that, then that can become a great distractor also. So it is needed as much as it is understood, the glory of the Lord is understood, and these things.
But in
This way.
Jnanis Prabhuji, there is no different ways of sadhana. Like some are doing Sankhya kind of, some are doing some other kind of.
Usually within Jnana, the path of Jnana Prabhu, the meditation aspect they will do, where then they want to meditate on some statements of Vedanta and all that. But the study aspect of Sankhya is common. In Jnana path, they will study this. It is considered to be common aspect. But yeah, what sort of meditation they take? Sometimes Jnanis take the meditation path of even yoga, but they have studied everything. And then for only practice, they take path of yoga. So that is also considered Jnana only. Or sometimes Jnanis take the Vedanta Vimarshanam as the meditation. So such statements like Tattvamasi, they will meditate on that. But this is a fundamental aspect. This every Jnani should study only that. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay. Fine, let's stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.